are interested in teaching about the American elections, teaching about how the US election process works, social networking sites, the internet are absolutely essential to modern political campaigns. So today I'm going to tell you a little bit about that process, where we've been, where we're going, and what you can expect heading into 2012. The stone age of the internet when it comes to American campaigns was actually Bill Clinton in 1992. Now I know this seems like a strange idea, but there was this strange time in the past 20 years ago when email was considered something very advanced. And the Clinton campaign was one of the first campaigns in US history to actually use email. We get to the presidential election of 2000, and you see the use of campaign websites on the internet actually being functional for the first time. In 2000, you saw fundraising. At the time, and this is considered pretty amazing, John McCain raised millions of dollars online, and no one had ever raised money online before. Okay? What happened between 2000 and 2004 that turned the internet from this sort of stone age to this wild and woolly, we don't know what's going on? Well, it had to do with penetration, speed, and comfort. Okay? Now, what do those three topics mean? Internet penetration is the percentage of the population in any country that has access to the internet, either at home, at work, or at some sort of public resource. Internet penetration had gotten to the point where 2004, a lot of people had broadband, a lot of people had the internet at their homes, so it made sense to have a dynamic website and to use the internet in more creative ways. Comfort is really key. The biggest shopping day in the United States is actually the day after Christmas. Okay? And there was a 43% increase in online sales on the day after Christmas in 2003. Americans, when we spend money on things, it means we're comfortable. Americans were finally spending money online, which meant campaigns knew, wait, we can raise money online. Howard Dean. Most of you haven't heard of Howard Dean. Howard Dean was the sort of granddaddy of internet innovation in American campaigns. He came up with the concepts that, to this day, define how internet campaigning is going. He had news-pegged fundraising deals. Now, what's that? Well, that means that, again, you used to get the letter in the mail and it would say, look, spend money and give me money. But he said, wait a minute, what if we send an email, and within the email we have a link to a news story, and make that the reason people want to give money? So what the Dean campaign would do is it would collect people's emails, and they'd send out a letter, and it would say, this story shows that George Bush will be cutting funding to public schools this week. If you want to stop him, send money to Howard Dean. And people are like, oh, well, that makes sense. I'm angry. I'm sending money to Howard Dean right now. He didn't have to wait. It was immediate, and therefore you could go back to the same people later on that week. Our efforts on Tuesday worked, because on Thursday, George Bush decided not to pass this plan. Please give more money to make sure that next time he doesn't start. Okay? Howard Dean was the first presidential candidate to blog. What did that mean? When he would go to Peoria, Illinois, he would write, and it would show up on the website. I met 20 people, public school teachers today in Peoria, Illinois, and they were great people. Here were their names. And people would go to the website and say, oh my goodness, that's me. Howard Dean knows me. He remembers me. Now, does he remember you? Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't. But you still read it. You still saw it on the website. And here's why it also became valuable. Newspaper reporters said, wait a minute. Howard Dean just wrote about being in this location on Thursday. He just told us on his website he's going to be here on Friday. I can just follow him online now and find out his perception of events. Then we saw the explosion of social networks. Okay? It's really important to take into consideration when you're working with your students, and if they're focusing on a state, campaigns now are completely dependent on social networking technology to communicate. It's cheaper, it's faster, it's more efficient, and you can't understand American campaigns if you don't understand how this is used on the internet. By 2008, all of the Wild West, all of the social networking technology had become a critical part of campaigns, and then you started to see how differences were coming into play in how you use it. How you use Facebook, how you use YouTube, how you use Twitter depends what kind of campaign you're running, what level you're at, and who's paying attention to you. So, where are we now? What can we expect in 2012? What do you want to make sure that your students know? The biggest innovations right now, you have more apps. You're going to have campaign apps. Just like you can get apps for, seeing this or finding restaurants or coupons. The Democratic Party is going to have their own app. The Republican Party is going to have their own app. The Obama campaign in 2008 actually had an inauguration party app that you could download on your phone, and it would show you where all the parties were. Okay? You're going to have more people creating things like that now. You're going to have a State of Ohio Democratic Party app, a State of Ohio Barack Obama app, a State of Ohio Mitt Romney app. All of these apps allow you to be specifically communicated with by the campaign, and for the campaigns to find out a lot of information about you that you don't realize that you're giving them. it is no longer just effective to have information there. Your website is actually going to start changing. This is one of the things we're going to see through the end of this year. Websites are going to change depending on who you are. If it is online, it will see whatever else it is that you've been searching. And if you are a single mother at the age of 43, it may say, Barack Obama gives a speech today about single moms. And that'll be completely different from mine. And that'll be completely different from a married person. That'll be completely different from somebody who's gay. That'll be completely different from somebody who lives in the Southwest. Campaign websites will change with you, and you won't even realize that it's happening. If you want to understand American elections and you want to get it to explain to your students, you've got to take them online. They've got to take a look on their phones. They've got to take a look on Facebook. That's not just the future of American campaigns. American campaigns are now an online experience. It doesn't look like it's ever going to change. I don't know if we'll ever get out of the Wild Wild West, but until we do, it's the #1 place that you have to go. Thank you very much for your time.